Okay, then I will open the meeting for October 9th, 2025, edition of the Northampton Conservation Commission. There are several things on the agenda tonight. One is a continuation of the hearing for the construction of 9 solar panel canopies within the riverfront area on Route 5, Mount Town Road. Another is a determination of applicability, determine if tree cutting within the riverfront area is subject to our rules and regulations. At this time, if there's anyone who has something that they want to bring before the commission that's in our purview and is not on the agenda, speak now. Okay, then we'll get right to it. We have a continuation of a notice of intent for construction of 9 solar panel canopies within the riverfront, the Mill River, the buffer zone, and bordering land subject to flooding. This is for Parallel Products Solar Energy, 182 Mount Tom Road. What I'll do is I'll ask you to go over the plan changes that we agreed on and the items and the responses that we agreed upon. And hopefully we can bring some closure to this. If you could address the changes and on both the plans and on your O&M plan, then
Okay,
go ahead.
so my name is Scott Daggett, Project Manager for Farland Corp, representing Parallel Products Solar Energy. So the plans that I had submitted and the response letter are addressing the items that were mentioned during the September 18th Conservation Commission hearing, in which one of the comments was to place a fence along the limits of the proposed gravel edge. So if you have a copy of the plans, I'll put my copy of the plan up on the screen so you can see it. Okay. So what we did, based on the request of the commission, is to provide a fence pretty much separating or occupying space between the solar canopies, which is also the edge of the gravel, and the 50-foot buffer zone, which is the conservation protection area. In areas where the fence well, I should say where the 50-foot buffer zone and the solar canopies come extremely close to one another, we held the fence line along the edge of the 50-foot buffer zone. But in areas where we don't have that close proximity to the 50-foot buffer zone, we kept the fence, I believe it was a couple of feet just off the edge of the gravel or away from the solar canopy. And we tried to make these fences in a straight line as best as possible to make it easier to maintain and make it easier to install. So we provided that fence all the way from the stone infiltration trench, number 3, which is the northernmost infiltration trench, right up to the tree line, and then along the 50-foot buffer, and then we kept it a little bit distance away from the infiltration trench. And then where the buffer zone is close to that infiltration trench, we kept it a few feet off. And again, where that fence starts to approach the solar canopies, we kept it relatively close to the solar canopies again, in a nice straight line fashion to keep it, aesthetically pleasing as well as functional to keep the gravel, any of the gravel from mitigating or being pushed into the 50-foot buffer zone. So that is one item that we had taken care of. The other item that we had taken care of and addressed was a snow storage removal area, or excuse me, snow removal storage area. We had tucked that pretty much in the far southern corner, as it was mentioned. One of you on the commission had spoken to, I believe it was an individual that works there, and they pretty much had laid out how they were going to plow that area. So we figured most of those gravel roads that we're proposing underneath the canopies, all of that snow would eventually be plowed to one area. There isn't going to be a whole lot of snow that's going to be underneath that. Primarily the snow that's going to be falling on that area is going to be in between the canopies. So I approximated about 20% of the total surface area. It may be a little bit larger because I took into account, if you're going to have some snow drifting underneath it and so forth. So this area that I provided might be a little bit larger than what's necessary. The other item that I addressed was the addition of snow plowing in the long-term operation and maintenance plan. We make mention of that pretty much close to the last page, where it's going to be the responsibility of the owner to provide snow plowing services. And we've pretty much laid out what's prohibited, what following areas are prohibited when it comes to snow plowing. So that was pretty straightforward. That was something that we omitted originally, and we probably should have added that, and now it's in our plan. So based on the comments from September 18th, I believe that was pretty much all the items that were mentioned that were still outstanding.
As well as the plantings and comment for.
Yes, thank you. So the plantings, one individual on the commission had mentioned about the gaps between the stormwater management controls. So on the landscaping plan, our planting plan, we have provided shrubbery or a shrub between each gap to prevent any rainwater or runoff from getting past that. We envision that that area may be built up a little bit because of the the planting itself, and should direct any stormwater into the adjacent stormwater control. So we have added those plants within each gap. We've updated our landscaping table to include that, and hopefully we have addressed that issue.
Okay. Question or comments from the commission?
Scott, I wonder if you could explain, I'm trying to remember from our last meeting, the purpose of the gaps.
So the gap, so instead of this stormwater management control, these infiltration or bioretention areas, if they were going to be interconnected, then what it would do is it would direct the stormwater into these lower elevation areas. So what we've done essentially is created areas where these would fill up because they're separated by elevation. So they would all fill up evenly, and then whatever cannot infiltrate will eventually just overtop evenly and eventually make its way down the slope. So that's the reason why we have those gaps, is to break up the elevation of the bioretention areas. So as you can see, I'll show it where it's a little bit more clear. For example, here, so the bottom of this particular bioretention area, which is bioretention area number 1, the bottom is elevation 112, the top is 113. So that's going to be pretty level throughout that whole segment. And then the adjacent one, bioretention area number 2, the bottom elevation is elevation 113 and the top elevation is 114. So what we tried to do is we tried to follow the existing grade as best we can, so that we're not really disturbing as much. And we're creating these individual bioretention areas that will eventually fill up to a level and eventually overtop if you get a really high volume storm and the if it doesn't penetrate or percolate into the bottom. So that's the reason why for the gaps.
I see, thank you.
Well, I think also because of the grades, if you had one long bioretention area, that you'd have a wicked flow coming down to the lower end.
Mhm.
Wouldn't serve anything.
Yeah,
Probably cause a little damage, you know.
Correct.
if I could use an analogy, Phil Cavallo here, the applicant, it's like a bucket of water if you tip it. So you would have a high side and a low side if you don't have these bioretention areas level. So that's kind of the idea. And then we stair step down by having that separation.
Right, and the stepping is because of the general ground elevation out there.
Right. Right. That's the idea.
Yeah.
I had a question about the pre-treatment vegetation for petroleum products. I know that on the south end that pretty much or almost tracks with the fence line. But as you head north, where that legend is shown or where that symbol is shown, there are areas where there's nothing shown between, or I guess that symbol is not shown between the fence line. And I'm wondering, could you extend that to the fence line? Is there any reason not to provide that additional area of treatment if that's designed? I mean, I would think that vegetation is designed to protect your stormwater treatment structures, that the more vegetation you have there, the less material gets into them and clogs them.
Yeah, I believed initially what we wanted to do was follow the limit of the 50-foot buffer zone and have that be the limit of the pre-treatment landscaping. That way we can keep the area for the use of the client or the applicant. Initially, we didn't think that we would need to extend that to the fence line because we weren't envisioning the fence line, and we wanted to keep all of that pre-treatment at the limits of the 50-foot buffer.
Right. So I understand that, but given that you now have that fence there and kind of the function of the fence is to keep operations from basically extending and sort of accidentally or intentionally impacting that vegetation. Is there any reason now not to extend it?
I shouldn't see any reason. I mean, unless Phil wants to add to that, but
yeah, I think the reason would be the expense associated with it, and we were directed to just have this 50-foot no-touch zone, be the protected area, and that's what we've done. So, extending that further, to the fence line would just add more expense to the project, and we already have a lot of expense associated with these conditions.
So what would be in that area? Sod or grass? I mean, would you just grass seed it? Would you do a conservation mix? How would you maintain that?
Yeah, we'd probably do a low growth fescue or something like that.
Okay.
Right, it's a dirt area now. I don't think there's anything, I don't know if you were there in the last site walk, Downey, but it it was pretty much dirt when we were there.
Yeah.
There was some growth, but I think it historically had been covered by cars and was getting a lot of sunlight and stuff like that. But now, no one's going to be traveling back there. We can certainly throw some seed down and encourage some low growth grass to grow there.
Yeah, I understand that the there's additional expense for that specific vegetation, the petroleum remediation, but I would, yeah, there has to be something there, or you're just gonna have that dirt mobilized into your treatment structures and they will not work within a season or two, I would think.
Yeah, like a grass would be a perfect, a great opportunity there for just slowing things down and keeping everything in place.
Okay. The other question I had is, so on this, just looking at this, there is now a boundary, right? That's supposed to keep operations on, routine operations are now on the inside of the fence. The treatment structures are on the outside of the fence. But looking to we haven't really addressed the north side of the property at all. And what I wanted to suggest as a condition is going north. I understand that this is, heavily impacted and that there's a limited vegetation. And what I was going to suggest as a condition, and wanted to get your thoughts on this, is a simple monumentation of where you have degraded areas right now. And my suggestion to Sarah was, if you had suggested before some simple posts, saying, don't go beyond this point. And that when those were put in place, and basically Sarah on one of her, construction inspections would just GPS those, so that there would be no question going forward on this property whether or not operations had, oozed out toward the river. Because one of the issues I think we've all had is that there's been operations ongoing on this property for decades, not a lot of it permitted. And so the question of, where are we and where are we going, is tough to determine. Has it pushed out beyond where it was contemplated 2 decades ago? Who knows? So I was thinking of just adding a condition, not to restrict at all what you're doing right now or what the owner is doing right now, but simply to document. I mean, we don't have to do this, but if you don't, then this commission or a future commission could decide that you had moved out using aerial photos, and maybe that's just an artifact of the photo, but I'd hate, but that could lead to an enforcement order or an enforcement action. And whereas if we just have the GPS points, then everybody knows where that limit is.
So you're suggesting like some monumentation here?
Yeah, I think very, very minimal. Again, I'm not, I think that it would be,
Yeah, we
you
can
know,
agree to that. That's not
for
a
you to
problem.
put posts in and just say, don't go past this line, for us to know where they are, and going forward. And again, this is at the limit of the existing operation. So we're not, the condition wouldn't be looking to restrict what's happening on that north end, but just to keep it the same going forward.
I have a few questions. Looking through your O and M, I'm not sure what a P diaphragm is and where it is and what it does.
Okay, so what a P diaphragm does, see if I can find one. P diaphragm.
I didn't see anything in the detail sheet, so I was wondering what it was.
Yeah, should be, let's see. Yeah, so your stone diaphragm or your P diaphragm is pretty much that 1 foot wide stone diaphragm that will intercept any fines and preventing any of that from going downstream or downslope. So in this particular detail, you have your stone diaphragm before your bioretention area, grass filter strip, your bioretention area, and then you got a little bit of an upslope which will prevent any water from getting over. But if it were to overtop, the P diaphragm would pretty much collect any solids and prevent any solids or any fines from eventually getting downstream. So
So
on
the
the
P,
plan,
sorry, the P is referring to the size of the stone then.
yes, sir.
Okay.
So P is the P is actually referring to the size of the stone.
P stone.
See if I can find that on the plan because it is a very small. It's only 12 inches wide by 18 inches deep. So you can see it here before the grass filter strip, and then you can see it here after the bioretention area.
Yeah. And my other question had to do with the fence. It's 4 feet tall, unless you have some really tall guys that can step over it. I don't see any indications for gates. You get in there and maintain your bioretention areas and so on.
Yeah, that's true. I did not show any gates. I imagine
About how often would you want to, what interview would you need for the gates? Every 50 feet or something, or what?
I think every 50 feet or so would sound pretty reasonable. I mean that's a pretty long fence.
50 would be a lot, would be too many. Come on.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
No,
I do cattle on the side and yeah, 50 feet is every time you put in a gate, you got to put in H braces on both sides of the gate. So, I mean,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's 90 feet from third base to home. So just use that as your measurement and
Oh, yeah.
say, hey, how many of those do I need to be able to space out gates? I think every 150, 200 feet, maybe, something like that.
Okay, I wasn't sure how long the total fence was. Um,
Fences, I don't know, Scott, what do you have for that?
Let me bring up the drawing and actually, I didn't calculate that length, but I can do it certainly while I'm here.
It's gotta be,
we just want
1,000.
to make it easier so you don't have to scale a fence.
No, that's smart. It's gotta be 1,000 feet.
yeah, I think it's got it. Yeah, it's over 1,000 from my calculations.
Let me see what I got here currently. Oh, there's a different drawing. Let's see, got here. I have just a hair under 1,700 linear feet.
Mhm.
Yeah. Makes sense. I don't know, 3 or 4 gates in there across.
Yeah,
That should do it.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Maybe every 400 feet, give you about 4 gates, I think. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine with us.
Okay. Any other questions from commissioners? Any from
Um,
staff?
I just had some questions or some comments on the O and M. So on the in the first full paragraph, the maintenance and operation maintenance log for at least 3 years, and I would just take out that for at least 3 years, since this is not something where you're doing your plantings and then you're walking away, but this is more for the operations and maintenance of those stormwater structures, which if they become covered with sediment, then they'll stop serving their function. So the operations and maintenance log should just be ongoing. In the street sweeping section, in the maintenance section, there is to sweep the parking lots twice annually and wash residual sand from winter applications into stormwater systems. And I'm assuming this is coming from a different kind of system because you really wouldn't want to do that. So I would just say sweep them twice annually, or sweep gravel areas at least twice annually. And in the landscaping maintenance on page 3, there is fertilized twice annually. And I don't think we want to put the fertilizer on. So I would just, no need for fertilizer here, since that just puts it right in the wetlands. And then lower down on that page, just a wording change, which is inspect monthly, especially after larger storm events. I would just say inspect monthly or after larger storm events. And the last edit was on the landscaping. So this is on page 4, in the landscaping and stormwater structure restoration. So the first sentence is, if proposed landscaping and or stormwater structures are damaged as a result of flooding, I would just take out that as a result of flooding. It's just if they're damaged, it could be flooding, it could be rainfall, it could be a backhoe. Doesn't really matter. That it's the owner's responsibility to restore. And the last thing is, we had talked about, since this is a very flood-prone area, I'm just gonna, easiest way to do this is, okay. All right, it just dropped in the chat if everyone wants to have a look at it. This is just a sentence that would be added to that, which is just makes clear that if there is an event that the landscaping or stormwater structures are affected by floodwaters, so this is specifically on floodwaters, that they'll be inspected, and a report on post-flood conditions, immediate repair actions taken, further remediation plans shall be provided to the Conservation Commission within 10 business days. So just we realize that that's not an unlikely event, and it is the thing that's likely to cause the greatest damage, especially if those things are covered with silt. I put down 10 business days as a starting point. If you wanted to extend that, I don't think that would be unreasonable. If you think 15 days or 20 days would be something that you would need in order to basically act and then document. This is, this is not there's no formal format for this report, but it's just something to make sure that the landowner follows through with the responsibility to repair the structures if they need it.
Downey, it may just be me, but I'm not seeing it in the chat.
Oh, there we go. I got to hit the enter button.
Perfect.
You got that, Scott?
Yeah, I will, well, I don't have a copy of that, but what I will do is I will review the recording of this and write it down verbatim. Or if,
I can
Somebody
provide you
can-
with all, those comments in writing too, if you want me just to mark up the
Yeah.
OM.
that would be great. Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
I made a suggestion at a previous hearing that I asked who was responsible for performing the O&M tasks, and the answer I got was it would be likely be Farland Corporation or a wetlands consultant, Brad Holmes. If that could be made a little bit more specific, so we could have the name and phone number or
Yeah, we
email
would
address.
just- Right, we would just assign it to Farland, and then if they need to bring in Brad Holmes, they will.
Okay. That way we know who to get a hold of in case of, so we're not playing cell phone basketball.
I never played telephone basketball. I've played telephone ping pong.
There you go. Well, it's pickleball now. Sarah, do you have comments?
I think the discussion so far addressed everything that I had.
Okay.
Oh, and I guess one addition that a stormwater permit amendment will be required if the plans have changed since the DPW approved that.
Okay. Any other comments from or questions from commissioners?
I think we already discussed this in the last meeting, but that the debris and junk removal would be done in advance, and notification would be sent out that it had been completed before any of the project begins.
Right, that would be a note, I mean, an order of conditions.
Right.
Any questions or comments from the public? I don't think any of them are here.
Mason, I just had one more, just wanted to ask the applicant something. So when the fence was added, which I appreciate location and execution. One thing that in my mind that was the benefit of the fence is the fence was going to restrict routine operations to the west side of the fence or away from the river.
Yeah,
And so I just want to make sure that would it be okay just to make, to put a condition into the order of conditions reflecting that. I understand that there will be times that in that grassed area that'll be necessary to go outside. Maybe you need to get a piece of equipment in. Obviously, you can't go in the protected zone, or you can't go on top of the, or you might even need to go in there if you needed some equipment to service the stormwater structures. But routine operations, I'd like to have in the order of conditions for everyone to know that they're going to stay on the inside of the fence. Is that, and I just want to make sure, that was my understanding of the function of the fence. I just wanted to ask the applicants whether that was their
Yeah,
understanding of the function.
that's acceptable.
Okay,
The owner's not here, but you know, as the applicant, I think it was understood that the 50-foot no touch zone was just that, and no touch zone, no operations.
okay,
And now we've got a fence there, which is basically restricting any action and activity of the operator from being in that 50-foot, you know, no touch zone.
okay.
I am here. I'm present at the meeting.
Oh, you
Okay.
are? Oh,
Yes.
I didn't see you on the screen, Rox.
Yeah, yep, I'm here.
Sorry about that. All right,
No,
so
that's okay.
you want to comment?
No, I mean, I know that's the purpose of the fence.
Okay, I
Yes.
I didn't want it to be up in the air because it is a significant, for me, it's a significant benefit in that it protects that stormwater, protects the protected zone. But I understand that it's, you know, it was not planned for until we put the fence in. So I just wanted to make sure that its function is to be as a buffer zone. If operations need to go in there, they can go in there, but routine operations stay on the side. So if that's everybody's understanding and my condition won't surprise anybody, that's great.
Right.
Any other comments or questions? Does the commission feel it has enough information to close the hearing? And if so, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, well, I would move to close.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Quick roll.
Sarah?
Beth,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
and Mason.
Yes.
Hearing is closed.
Okay. Orders of conditions. And Sarah has some somewhere. And we can't find them, but
I don't know if we want to try to do this a little bit in chronological order of what the junk and debris removal before anything else, I think is
Yep.
one of the conditions we would like.
Well, the stormwater permit is probably even before that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then the restoration work would be conducted prior to or in concurrence.
oh, with the construction,
With
yes.
construction, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the idea of weekly reports during the construction.
Are you going over Sarah's? Is that where you're getting that from?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And
Keep-
that weekly report would be included in the construction sequencing plan.
I like the one of the concerning the flooding event. Require that landscaping and stormwater reconstruction components of the O&M be inspected no later than 72 hours following a flood event. And the commission and DPW provided with a report.
Yeah. Mason, I think that the condition that Downey had included in the chat would take the place of the one
Okay.
I had suggested.
I'm not familiar with chat.
You have to be at a full view and then find it.
So, in the event that proposed landscaping and or stormwater structures are affected by floodwaters during a flood event, both shall be inspected and a report on post-flood conditions, immediate repair actions taken, and further remediation plans shall be provided to the Conservation Commission within 10 business days.
And that will also be in the O and M.
Yeah.
And I mean, order of conditions will be on the land forever, but nobody will ever see it unless they're searching, whereas this in the O and M, I think will be in both places.
The ongoing condition prohibiting further alteration within the restoration mitigation area, except as may be required to maintain the area in its restored or mitigated condition, which kind of follows the flooding event.
Yes. The one thing that's missing, I think, in Downey's suggested language is that that it be inspected within 72 hours. If there's a flood, stormwater flood.
Yeah, I left that out. I left it out, just, we can put it in. I left it out because I figured that we won't really know whether they've done it or not because they have 10 days to do the report. So,
Right.
but
But in the
Wow.
report, it can say when they did it, and it should be it's pretty standard within 72 hours for detention ponds, for detention ponds anyway.
The condition about the gates, the intervals. I think we, or what was it, every 400 feet for a gate?
If maybe just give a number like 4 gates since it's about 1,700 feet long,
Okay,
and
4
then
gates evenly spaced or whatever's
Yeah, 4
convenient. for
gates
them.
evenly spaced would be great.
yeah,
Yeah.
what's most workable.
and I just have the two. One is that routine operations remain to the west of the cattle fence and away from resource areas. And the next one is that permanent monuments be placed to document the current limit of operations.
Especially on the north end.
Yeah. And then we can say, where we can say to document the current limit of operations where the cattle fence is not providing that.
Okay. Any others?
I think maybe just the kind of final summary point that there probably wouldn't be any further alteration approved other than maintenance of anything that's damaged in the stormwater system.
Someone like to move these conditions?
But just to check too, and then we also have the standard, right? That would speak to like
Yes.
the survival of the plantings. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Right, roll call vote. Beth,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
and Mason.
Yes. I think that's it. I can shave my beard except winter's coming on.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you and good luck with the
Yeah.
project.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Here's my agenda. Okay, next we have a request for the determination of applicability to determine if tree cutting within the riverfront of the Mill River is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act or Northampton Wetlands Ordinance. This is for Douglas Thayer on Grove Street in Leeds. Is there someone here to speak to that?
Yes, I'm here. This is Douglas Thayer. The
Okay,
can I is my speaker on? So there are. This is a residential house site that will be is proposed, and the 200-foot riverfront buffer zone. There are 4 trees in that zone that we are asking permission to remove. We walked the land with Dave Cotton some time ago, and these trees are 2 of them are unhealthy. One has a lean heavy towards the proposed house site, and the other 4th is also close to the proximity of the house. And the disturbance of the construction in the root system would possibly set a condition for these trees to die, so we'd like permission to remove them prior to. The roots would be remain. The trees will be taken down by a crane and individually branched down, not dropped or felled as a whole. And nothing else in the riverfront buffer zone is to be disturbed from the house construction and further activities on the property.
do you have a diagram you want to share with us or
I
not
don't.
possible?
It's not possible. Where I am, I was actually out of town for the area. There was a plot plan with the permit application that shows the
Yep.
approximate trees, the house site, the delineation line, and other elements of the property.
I am
Yeah,
pulling that up.
it's
Give me just a second.
got the 200-foot riverfront line on. It's the only thing I guess that's impacting your site. I don't see any wetland delineation, but maybe that was off-site.
The there's no wetland found on. There was a report written by. It's in the application also. The
Yeah,
river
Ward
there.
Smith.
The river there is a kind of a rock face where it comes around the bank. So high water flooding zone in that river does not occur due to the elevation of the bank, the rocky bank. So it's just the buffer zone from the water's edge.
Yeah, so just to provide some additional context, so this is the bike path here from the end of Grove Avenue. It curves around to the north, and then the main section of the bike path is to the west of this parcel. And then there's additional section of woods here, and then the river is farther to the west. So it's a good distance away from the subject parcel.
And we're looking at the next, you'll have to slide the thing up to get the house in there.
Yeah.
That's the proposed house?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a single story house with a basement walkout, the elevations are on the plans, and
Yep.
they are having a deck that projects out and going for this sort of a in the canopy type of feel that they want in this house site and in the house. So they very much want to be up in the trees, and so we're kind of projecting the house out over this terrain that's sloping down and away.
Yep.
Are
So the
the,
walkout will be more or less under the deck.
Yeah, and that the basement space is just utility space. There'll be no yard use there. On the south side of the house is a small proposed yard area by the driveway, but
Yeah.
it's really they're really embracing the wooded lot and having the house kind of pushed into the woods to give some privacy from the bike path behind them.
are the trees marked on the map? I couldn't find them. Or in
They
the plan?
I'm zooming in.
Yeah, I think there's those little dots with the
Those are the bottoms of footings. They're not marked on the plan.
oh, okay. Oh, those are the post locations for the footings.
Yeah, it looks like they all say bottom of footing. So I did go out to the site and I can share a photo if Zoom doesn't crash. It seems to be acting up today. But they're the trees were marked in the field and they were towards the very upper edge of the riverfront area.
Okay.
One question I had was about efforts to protect the roots of the trees that will remain during construction.
For additional context. So this is one tree that's proposed to be removed. This is just a sort of a leader that happens to be vertical. So bike path is down here, and then Mill River not visible from the project areas beyond.
So that's the tree that would be damaged during construction possibly, or the roots?
That was a dead one that's proposed.
Oh, that's a dead one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be gone. But I think that was a suggestion by Sarah, was to leave the root systems. Don't dump the tree. Dumping is when you remove a tree's roots with a bulldozer, and it kind of rips the soil to pieces. And on a slope, these are fairly steep slope. You don't want that.
Douglas, there's I was assuming this was a septic system, but I couldn't tell from the plan. Construction shown on the lot that's joined in with this one to the north part of for this project, or is that something else?
Is my microphone working now?
Yep.
Yep.
What was your question?
Yeah, I think my Zoom quit. Sorry. On the adjoining lot to the north, is that a septic system that's proposed?
No, the adjoining lot to the north was purchased by the owner. We will be connecting to city sewer and water.
So what is this element?
In the I can't see that. I'm sorry for my technical disability here. What
Shows it shows a rectangle on the lot next to you, north of your proposed house.
I don't. That's no activity that we are proposing to do.
It's connected with a line shown as a D. I'm assuming a drain pipe. to the.
Oh, the house to the
house?
south. Yes, there is a stormwater drain from the city, from the street that goes between the two lots, the house to the south and ours, and then it exits down at the bottom of the river, down at the bottom of the properties. So that's a existing storm drain.
And there's a catch basin there?
The
currently?
catch basin's in the street, yes.
Yeah, I'm totally confused.
So there's something there's a D line, oh, I was assuming drain, but it doesn't always correspond, from the northeast corner of the proposed house, going north to some sort of a rectangle that isn't right.
Oh, I don't know. That's there was talk of a auxiliary dwelling, and that may be it, but we're not proposing that for this permit section. I see it now that you're sharing the screen. Again, that I believe was a proposed possibility of a ADU.
So that's not being proposed as part of this application, that should be eliminated?
No, it's not. That is
Okay.
not part of this application, or this plot, or the construction proposed ahead.
So sorry to be dense, but to go back to the trees for a second,
Yep.
where are they relative to the house? I think that's the part that I'm confused about.
Looking to they're right on they're on the delineation line between 2 to 6 feet over the line to the west.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Looking
They're
straight
very,
out of
very
the house.
close to the
Okay.
upper edge of the riverfront.
Okay, but they're far enough from the house that leaving the root systems intact makes sense from a construction point of view. So that was sort of the part that I was.
Yeah, no, the construction won't be disturbing any of the soil at all inside the delineation zone.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I happened
Any
to
other-
live in a development where, when they did the construction, a bunch of trees had to be removed afterwards because the roots were damaged. So I'm wondering if the erosion control can be, Sarah had suggested asking if it could be like at 205 feet in from the riverfront to provide a little extra protection for the roots of the remaining trees from construction damage.
That is certainly easy and understandable. We could accommodate that.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the commission?
I guess just that, if there is a desire to do an ADU or anything else within this area, that of course it would be important to come before the commission again.
Yes, that would be another application.
What is an ADU?
Auxiliary dwelling unit.
Okay. Hey, I didn't know what a P diaphragm was before tonight.
I have one question for the commission.
Sure.
We filed a zoning application last week, and it came back with a need for the Conservation Commission to review. So
That's this.
What's that?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. I was just double checking that this is that process. If we had to do something more. Okay.
No, no.
Okay, does the commission have enough information to close this meeting or,
RDA, so we don't have to close.
Oh.
One less vote we need to take.
so we go
But-
right in?
But you might want to ask for public comment if there is any. Or questions.
Okay, is there any public comment on this affair? Geez, we have a good night here. Or we're so dull they don't hear, chime in and hear us. So I'll need, if we're going to go ahead with the approval of the RDA, I need someone to do that.
I would make a motion that we issue a negative determination checking box 2. Indicate that the work is within a resource area but will not alter, and checking box 1 to indicate the area is subject to the WPA. And include a condition. Well, actually, Sarah, if they're going to pull it to 205,
You'll need to unlock your iPhone
are
first.
they even within an area that, do they need to do this?
Yes, so the tree removal will still be within the riverfront area.
Okay,
But we're adding the extra 5 feet away with the erosion control as a.
okay,
as
okay,
a-
so,
Extra
so as I
upper
was saying,
box.
checking a positive box 1, indicate the area is subject to the WPA, and including one condition that the trees be cut and not grubbed with root structures left in space and down trees left on site. And a second condition that erosion controls be set at 205 feet from the riverbank. So 5 feet past the 200-foot riverfront area.
I understand.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Right, roll call vote. Beth,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
and Mason.
Yes.
Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Good luck. Mm,
And we did have one set of minutes from last week.
Oh, yes, yes. In fact, I
Huh.
actually brought them along because of the first hearing.
Right. I noticed a typo, I believe, in the second sentence.
Uh-oh.
In
Yeah.
addition, the number of cars on site has been reduced, not down to 200.
Not that I will remove the nod
Yes.
right now.
Any other omissions or corrections? Or additions? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Fine. With the correction, Beth,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
and Mason.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is elect the chair and vice chair, but I would like to put that off till the next meeting when we have more commissioners instead of just the 4 of us.
Yep, makes sense.
And that's all I have on my agenda. You got anything, Sarah? Anything coming up?
I got for updates. We are applying for CPA funding for acquisition of that 72-acre parcel in the southwestern portion of the city in the southern Mineral Hills. So CPA will be considering that. over this round. We did apply for a land grant. I'm optimistic that it will be received, but they are always very competitive and there are uncertainties about federal funding that further complicate things. But we did ask for the full amount from the CPC just in case. Trustees of reservations received a municipal vulnerability program grant for acquisition in the beginning stages of rewilding of the Beaverbrook Golf Course, which is exciting.
Great.
Wow. Yeah, that's great news. Is the first step going to be the removal of the culvert?
At Beaverbrook,
Yeah,
I don't know what their plans are. They're in the very beginning stages.
they haven't done a thing at the end of Ellington Road. Except drive up there every morning and check for something. I don't know what. I think maybe they get a cup of coffee up there and head
I
back
was
down.
gonna say, yeah, sip your coffee.
Anyways, I haven't heard anything there.
That's
That's all I got. Well, it's good to hear that Kevin is still in good spirits and looking still good. I just can't imagine what it would do if it happened to me or something. I mean, I can't imagine the state of mind and all the stuff that goes with it. I give him a lot of credit for the attitude that he has. Other
Yes.
than that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
One second.
Okay, guys, have a good time until the next. When is the next meeting?
So we have a few applications that needed additional information before they were ready to get scheduled for a hearing. So we may have a meeting on the 23rd, we may not.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay. Cool.
Well, then have a good Halloween if we don't.
All right, thanks so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Last
Good
year
night.
we had 0 people.
More
Big
candy.
bowl of candy for ourselves.
Well, now that we know where the goods are.
There you go.
All right, thanks, everyone.
All righty, have a
Yep.
nice evening. Bye-bye.